Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Let's start with the quick speech, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sumaya Ahmed, and it's an honor to be here tonight representing the general community and specifically the young adults of our community. We are happy you are all here and took the time from your busy schedules to come speak to us. For the past few days, we made an effort to reach out to as many youth in our community as possible, regardless of their views, to create a united front. We provided an opportunity for them to voice their questions. As concerned youth of this community and organizers of this event, we believe we have compiled a list of concerns that are representative of the IAGD youth and the IAGD community. We thank everyone for this responsibility, and inshallah we will leave this meeting on better terms than when we entered it. To create a trusting relationship, we are recording this meeting and will share the video and notes with the community. We will also be passing around note cards and pens at the end of the session for any questions you may have for either the panelists or the Board of Trustees. They may not be answered during this session, but we will work to ensure that they are answered due to time constraints. Also, if anyone has any questions for us, like I said before, feel free to approach us directly after the session. With the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the intentions to bring the community together by creating transparency and understanding, we would like to get started right away. Just a few reminders that we all remember our intention when we walked in here. Please be respectful to the panelists, to the Board of Trustees, and your audience members. If there is any situation where we feel that things are getting escalated, you'll be kindly escorted out of the basement. With that said, I would like to start off by giving the mic to the Board of Trustees to introduce themselves.
My name is Usman Master, and I've been in this community for more than 30 years. As most of you know Sumaya, I'm the father of Sumaya Master.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nasir Ahmed, and I am Secretary of the Board of Trustees. I have been in this community nearly almost from the inception, and have been active. And my children are grown up; they are one day in this business, but they are no more here. So grandchildren are soon to come, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Sayyid Akbar. I am one of the founding members. I've been with the organization from day one, and inshallah we'll be happy to field your questions and exchange information.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Osman Malik. By profession, I'm a neurosurgeon. I have been with this organization from the true beginning. Most of you probably don't know, but this masjid for quite some time has been known as Royal Masjid rather than Rochester Hills Masjid. That's where we began, and over a period of time, the activities have grown. And so, we are here to talk to all of you and to respond to your questions without getting into big debates, but we are here at your disposal. Thank you.
Next, the panelists will introduce themselves.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Iman Siki. I've been part of this community for my whole life. I've been a part of the Under the Shade youth group as well as a contributor to the Ramadan summer camp. I look forward to being a part of this community for many years to come, moving forward as a unified community, our elders, us young adults, kids, and all, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. My name is Maliha Khan. I have served on MYGD for 2 years as a Community Affairs Chair. I have also served on MMYC for 2 years as the Registration and Food Committee, along with my MSA at Troy High School. IAGD is very important to me because my grandparents, Makhloom and Yasmin Ahmad and Sayyid Bukhari, were also here to help build up the foundation from the true beginning. And this much is important to my parents as well. They grew up here as long. Same with my brother and I. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Asim Wali. I've been in, I'd say, pretty active youth within IGD pretty much my whole life. I served on the MYGD board for 6 years, of 2 which I was president, which allowed me to become familiar with the organization and working with the members of this masjid. I also served on many other nonprofit organizations such as MMYC in high school. I was very active within my high school as well, and did many different programs. And I've also been participating and assisting with the IAGD at the golf program for the past 5 years, alhamdulillah. Also, I'm currently a college student and continue my contributions to the Muslim community and hope to continue my contributions at IAGD, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Azim Qadri. I've been a member, I've been coming to this masjid almost every day for the past 16 years. And I've been the product of the Sunday Islamic School from 1st to 11th grade. I've also volunteered here through several organizations, nonprofits. I was an Islamic school teacher, so I'm going to keep it here still. This is my second home, and this is my family's second home. Hopefully, inshallah, we can resolve these issues, and we can be happy to call this a community again.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamza Shawkat. Honestly, I've been here since I can remember. I grew up in IAGD, went to Sunday school since the age of 5. Graduated at 17. I've tried to contribute around the community as much as possible. Currently I'm doing the golf upstairs, organizing that stuff, under the shade and all that stuff as well. Honestly, I can say that IAGD has had a great impact on my life. I've been through many ups and downs, and with the people here, I've built many relationships, and that has played a really big role in molding me to who I am now. Again, guys, something that we need to really realize is tonight is really meant to kind of create some sort of unity and create the greater vision for IAGD. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mustafa Rashid. Like almost every single member on this panel, I've spent my entire life here. I've served as a board member of MYGD for 3 years, in addition to serving in MMYC and my school's MSA. I've also been a member of the IAGD HIS program here for a year. I'm sure like all of us, it really breaks my heart when I see the community in pain.
We'll go ahead and begin with our program. We have a very tight agenda for the night as these are the last couple days of Ramadan. We don't want to take too much of everyone's time, but also we want to try and get all of our points addressed. With that said, we are going to be limiting responses between 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll try to give markers to both sides in between that to kind of let you know if you're going over the time. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our panelists to go ahead and start addressing a few questions.
Assalamu alaikum again. The first couple of questions surround the Constitution of IAGD. The first question that we have is about the Memorandum of Understanding. It states that the 2017 Board of Directors will oversee the amendment process. Do we have the trustees' assurance that the amendment process will be executed to the fullest and without interference?
Yeah, of course, that's why we have signed that amendment, and that's the intention to fully execute the memorandum of understanding.
The next question revolves, again, around these next couple ones around the Constitution. Do you believe that the Board of Directors, the current Board of Directors, has violated any parts of the IAGD Constitution?
You can look at the conduct of people based on all kinds of criteria. Constitution is one. The prevalent processes are other. The organizational structure and its work is another way of looking at it. By changing the dates of the election, this was basically against running process for over 35 years and the Constitution, and that put us into a pretty significant turmoil.
Thank you. The next question is, do you believe that the Board of Trustees has violated any parts of the Constitution?
Panelists might be able to shed light on it as to what the question is.
Okay, so we'll address a specific clause in the IAGD Constitution. I believe it's Article 14 in Finances, Section H. It says the disbursement of funds from asset account shall require the joint signatures of the Treasurer and the Chairman of Board of Trustees, or in the absence of the Chairman, the signature of the Secretary of the Board of Trustees shall be required. There is also a lot more to that clause, but we want to know, when it comes to this portion of the Constitution, was there cooperation between both boards when it came to the assets and the real estate of IAGD?
Let's just look at that clause. So from 2013 up until the April of 2016, all the funds that were transferred from the asset account to the operations account were only done by the treasurer without the signatures of the Board of Trustees, either the chairman or the secretary. You can draw your own conclusion.
So my question from here is, when it comes to violating the Constitution, we would just like to know, should there be certain blame towards one board or the other? Because we want to be transparent and we want to know the truth.
It's not necessarily one board or the other. It should be pointed out to where the break in the Constitution is.
Now, the next question. Next question, and really the last point of the section on the Constitution, revolves around the general body. Does the Board of Trustees believe that the general body is the ultimate authority when it comes to the decisions of leadership?
The general body decisions are very important, but they are within the constitutional framework. So you cannot change the constitution at the general body. So there is a process of making amendments in the constitution. So if the general body decides some aspects of it, then it has to be put back to the board of directors, which is the president, and approved by them, and then sent to the community at large for mail balloting. And then 2/3 majority of the mail balloting for the present membership approves that thing. The general body is the media, but it's not that will top up the whole thing in the constitution and throw it in the garbage.
This will be my last question of the Constitution part. Would an amendment, would the trustees look favorably upon an amendment that gives the general body the ultimate authority in the Constitution?
See, the general body requires that you have a valid membership at the time. The general body requires that you have a membership list. The general body requires that when you come into the hall, you sign in as a member and the membership is validated. Like in the, if you take an example of this general body meeting which are going to take place recently, there is no membership list. That the whole process has been in dispute is the membership list from 2013. So in the absence of membership list, it becomes very difficult to have the general body meeting validated. So if we have had general body meeting every year, which unfortunately we never had a quorum. If you probably know that in all the history, we never could get 1/3 of the people. Even though the number of people may not be as much as we have today, but we never was able to obtain. I was president for 2 years, I was president for 3 years, and we never had any quorum. At this time, the main thing was that there is no valid membership list. So you're going to have a difficult time. Then there is really no provision that any member can just get up and become the president of the general body meeting, or call for a general body meeting by itself, for himself, or herself. So there is a system, there is a process of calling general body meeting. You have to have a valid board of directors, which was in dispute right now. The board of directors expired terms or not. And then you, a number of members, the specific number of members can ask for a general body meeting, write up and ask for a meeting, go to the board, and it is for the president within a month to hold a meeting. But in the absence of that, the Constitution doesn't really provide that anybody can just come up and have a meeting. The meeting that we were foreseeing was almost going to be a clotting meeting, dissolving the organization per se, the Constitution and the Board of Trustees. And if you ask your parents that they work for many organizations, that can this happen to their organization that they're working for? And then members can come up and dissolve the organization. So yes, general body is very important, it is a specific, very specific role, it has the authority, but that authority is within the framework of the Constitution. And that has to be, anything passed has to be validated by 2/3 mail balloting of the membership. And the membership has to be clear. So first thing is you have to have a good list of, a valid list of the members. That has been discussed.
I just add something to it? I think specific to your question, the trustees, the Board of Trustees, is not necessarily in favor or against any amendments of the Constitution. The trustees are not the deciding factor, just to clarify for you. It is the board and the community, the membership, that actually decides on changes in the Constitution. But in any given organization, including IAGD, there is a process by which to change those things. And that actually lies even below the trustees. Trustees are not the ones that either initiate the change or really run the change. It is the membership that actually decides on a change. But you have to go through the process and understand why the change is being made, what are the valid reasons for it, one way or the other, pros and cons. And we had one time that we actually did put this amendment in front of the community, and that had to do with the term limits of the Board of Directors. It went through the proper channels, it was submitted to the membership, and the membership has to have a 2/3 approval, and it did not pass.
Just to clarify your point, when it comes to an amendment, the two bodies that are considered passing that amendment are the directors, the board of directors, and the community, correct?
Right, the Board of Directors there is a Constitution Committee. Any suggestions or so forth, whether from general body or otherwise, they go to the Board of Directors, they give it to the Constitution Committee. The Constitution Committee deliberates on it. If they think that this is totally out of, context or whatever, they may recommend there is no reason to do something. It's already Constitution clarifies it or whatever that might be. If they come back and they say, yes, this should be considered, it goes to Board of Directors, they send out the mail ballot. It's the Board of Directors who send out the mail ballot to the community, to the membership. And that's what Dr. Nasir Ahmed was pointing out. You have to have a very clarified, appropriate membership. Once it goes there, it's like a date by which you will return your ballots. This allows the whole membership to actually have a say on the amendment. Not sitting in a general body meeting, which the quorum for which is 1/3 of the membership, and any decisions or any recommendations that are made are based on majority vote. So that's basically 1/6 of your membership cannot change the Constitution.
Jazakallah khair. I'll pass it on to another member of our panel.
Assalamualaikum. So we're going to be moving on to a few, there's really most of the questions we had regarding the Constitution, so we're moving on to some other points. So this question is, why wasn't the foundation mentioned before, after, or during negotiations that were taking place on June 3rd, 2016? And was its existence ever going to be revealed had it not been by accident?
You all know that the reason for having the foundation established has already been explained to the community. If you want me to reiterate it, I can re-clarify it. You know, this was initiated, actually the foundation concept is different. Many of the organizations, non-profit organizations, foundation is an important component of it. This particular foundation, and we had decided between the two boards quite a few years ago that we should have a foundation, but never got into it. The concept of the present foundation came about because of the major effort that was going on within the community of petition and having to have a general body meeting, and the stated goal of the general body meeting was really not to discuss any particular issue, but to actually dismiss both Board of Directors and Board of Trustees. First of all, there was no basis for it in the Constitution or otherwise. There was no legality about it. However, once decisions like that get made, then it becomes another debating point. If you think about it, let's say the general body meeting did happen, and you know it wasn't cancelled until the 4th of June. It was kept on the agenda and got promoted day in and day out. The end result would have been that the trustees would have said, you have no right to have this regulation passed. We are there, we are not going anywhere. Okay? Because they have been legally there and their terms were still active. Okay? The end result would have been going back to the courts, and this masjid would have been actually closed by this time. So this was a repository. It had nothing more than anything else. It was a repository of the IAGD's assets. And therefore, even if the Board of Trustees, let's say, were dismissed, you still had to have people who would run the organization. This is a public document. It wasn't going to go anywhere. It had to come, it had to be decided. It have been discussed very thoroughly, were introduced, but in the atmosphere of what we were working in, adding another confusion to it was not felt very appropriate.
So, just going back to the question, was it going to be revealed had it not been discovered by accident?
Absolutely, because that's how it would have functioned. It had to be. It would have been right in front. It's just a matter of time. Okay, once things got settled, our memorandum of understanding hasn't been even implemented, and once it was, this would be revealed. It has been could not be secret for the rest of IAGD's history because there was no secrecy about it.
So earlier you stated that there was no membership list. Then why did we have to protect the assets from the community, or the money from the community, as you said?
Well, that doesn't prevent people from doing what they're doing. You all know.
So what is your question?
Because if there was no membership list, then why did we have to protect the assets, money, and property from the general community?
Well, you know, the organization is a membership-based organization. The community can be very large, can be 10 cities, 20 cities, but it is a membership-based, and there are clear criteria for membership, that who can be membership is in the Constitution. And then the organization is run by the membership. It's not run by the community. What is the community? Community is anybody who can come into the mosque and say their prayers and participate in ibadah. Right? However, in the governance of the organization and the participation in the governance of the organization, you need membership. So membership, the only right or the advantage it gives is that the right to vote. It doesn't give any other that you have a back seat in the masjid and you can play in the first saf. It doesn't give you any right to that. All it gives is the right to vote. So the organization, most of the organization are run by the membership. Not by the people, we can have people from all over the state, all over the country come in and say the community, we want to change you guys. It has happened before in other places, and it really happened here. So membership is the one which runs the organization. They participate in the election process, and their lists are formulated, but the list has been in dispute and problematic. So that's what I meant there when I said that we did not have a membership list. It was a disputed list.
Come off from the memorandum of understanding. At what point was the memorandum of understanding take hold? When did it actually become active?
It's already being acted upon. You know,
So what date specifically did the points in the memorandum of understanding take hold? So point 4 states that both parties agree that the 2013 Board of Directors will continue in office until December 31st, 2016. Board of Trustees will actively encourage all 2013 Board of Directors to participate regularly in the Board of Director meetings. When did that point begin?
well, it began actually this month. The Board of Directors became active. They had their Board of Directors meeting, like they usually do on the first or the second Sunday, and all of the Board of Directors participated in that meeting.
So according to what you're saying, the Board of Directors was reinstated in their powers beginning of this month, June.
Yeah, it happened on June 3rd.
Okay.
And so right away, they become active. You have the president who has been the spokesperson, has been making all the announcements and so forth. They had a regular their Board of Directors meeting, and all of the Board of Directors, all 9 of them, to 13, they participated in that meeting.
So June 3rd.
June 3rd, it was signed on June 3rd. It was actually about 8:30 in the evening. The papers were signed, so from June 4th it became effective.
It is currently, today is the 29th, today is the 29th of June. So if the Board of Directors had reinstated their powers and responsibilities from June 4th, why did it take some 72 hours for them to find out about the foundation accidentally instead of you with the 20-some days to bring up the foundation?
That question has already been answered.
But your point about the foundation is with the concern that everything had not settled yet.
The foundation, as was told already, was for protection of the assets of the subdivision from the chaos and possibilities of whatever else could have happened. That's all. Once the memorandum is signed, that doesn't mean that the whole atmosphere has switched on into positivity. It takes time. If you look around, it still needs to be implemented, and it still needs to positivity flow from all the people. Okay? So it was going to be revealed gradually. There's no deadline for that. It was not anything secret. So this was protection. Now, if you want to protect something, but you tell somebody else that no, we're going to protect this, that protection is gone. Okay, then that other person is going to tell the other person, then they're going to sabotage that. So for protection purposes, you have to keep it secret. Okay? But then it was going to be revealed for them. Not there's still a lot of stuff going on, and so it's happening every day. We're all busy and all that stuff.
So how long, realistically, in your plan, would you have waited to inform the public or inform the Board of Directors?
We don't know that how long it would have taken to have their positive atmosphere and video positive. It's not anything secret. We're still hung up on the foundation. It's not anything secret that we were keeping it from the community. This was protection. You understand? This was protection. Okay? And for protection, don't go out with a drum and in the streets and say, I'm protecting this.
Protection from?
Protection from whatever the chaos was going to happen. Protection from the chaos that everybody might have done on this organization.
And you're under the assumption protection from someone going and creating a foundation and taking all the money?
I'm not taking all the money. You still understand the
It is how the organization gets run, who actually speaks for the organization and how it functions. No one has taken the money out, even with the foundation. not a penny is gone anywhere and wasn't going to go anywhere. And therefore, the time frame would have been here. I don't know whether it's going to be 2 weeks, whether it's going to be 1 week, whether it's going to be 3 weeks. But this is public information, and therefore, it is an organizational information. People would have that information.
So just want to clear what to know. All the trustees were aware that the foundation was being formed, correct?
Yes, the trustees had to have specific resolutions in order to create something. And therefore it was done in a very logical, methodical, legal way. It wasn't just one person or two people doing something about it. Everyone, every bit of the way, is aware of the activities.
So according to you, all of the trustees were aware of the foundation. Now, simply for the purpose of transparency and for the public to know, it's been circulating that specifically Gauss Malik did not know about the foundation, but his name was signed by another member of this community. So
I got the question. There is no one in the community that could sign my name. Okay, I am the person signing it, and I signed. I'm the chairman of the board of trustees, and for the foundation, I was labeled as the president. I am the person signing it, and it's not my signature today. But for your purpose, I think if somebody is circulating that, you have to tell them the other way around. This is not the only thing I have signed. I have been signing this since 1978. I'm the first person who registered IAGD. It was registered with the state in Macomb County in April of 1978. So from that point on, I have been signing a lot of stuff for this organization. So no one else has the authority to sign my name. Okay?
So the questions that I'm going to be asking you is about trust within the board of directors and the community and the youth as well. So basically this whole question. So since you basically admitted about transferring assets, what reason do we as the youth and do we as the community have to trust you, the board of directors, and what steps will be taken to ensure that this trust will not be violated again?
The main thing that we are talking about, the trust. See, as Uncle Malik mentioned and Uncle Nasir was mentioned, we did for the protection of the IAGD, we did for the protection of the community. Now, if we were not concerned about the IAGD and if we were not concerned about the community, we could have left it as is. But we had a concern, that is the reason we did one. The second thing you mentioned about that, whether 1% knew or 2% knew, no. We meet periodically. And we make the decision in the meeting. And we talk about that one, and we talk about both pros and cons. And then we make the decision on the basis of that one, okay? And my dear daughter, I just want to let you know, in this organization, you know that I was in the board for 9 years. I was the president also too. The board of directors meet every month and they are supposed to give report to board of trustees on the quarterly basis. Unfortunately, since 2013, only one meeting was occurred, and that was I told them. Initially, I told Fasad, he came to my home. I said, listen, he said, let's meet with the executive board. I said, no, we want all people to sit together and talk about this thing. Okay? So at that time the meeting was there, and after that there was no meeting. The second point to let you know, the board of directors supposed to give the information. For last 4 years we didn't get any budget. And this year we mentioned specifically to him that bring the budget to us so we know where you are going to spend the money so we can approve it. Okay? So for that reason too. Now regarding the funds, other thing that I can tell you, in 2013, that they need some funds, we transferred the funds to them. They need the funds in 2014, we transferred. They requested us, we gave the money to them also too. So we always trust them, but it has to be 2 ways, not 1 way.
I agree that you're saying that you want protection and it has to be trust both ways, which is, it has to happen. But I want to know, and everyone wants to know, who are you trying to protect from? This is the community, and it's the community's money. And so, what circumstances are needed to being able to do this unknowingly?
When everybody is disorganized, when there is a chaos, when you have multiple splinter groups, whether you have one group, we have a second group, you have a third group, everybody has their own opinion, everybody has their own concerns, everybody has their own meetings. This is what chaotic situation comes about. Why was the trust broken? $194,000 out of designated funds of expansion were taken out without the information to the community. Why didn't the community fight about having that information? There were 2 general body meetings since that time. This happened in June of 2014. Was the community informed that their money is being spent? What does the trust really lie? Are the concerns in one level. It has to be everywhere. Knowing that history, this trust will be spending time, and it is after they terminated and on checking out it, we found out how that trust was broken. And therefore, the protection was necessary when we had a pretty chaotic situation.
So the donation system is based on pledges, but 7 individuals decided to take the money that they had pledged to IAGD, and instead of donating it, they decided to use it for legal action. So how can the money that they decided to take out of donations for these fees, can you say is our money and they're using our money?
Okay, well when was the community told about it? You should have the history rather than the perception. This transfer happened in June of 2014. $194,000 was taken out of designated expansion fund, which is in state of Michigan is illegal, without the information to the other folks. This information became available in January. The moment it became available, the community was informed about it. The first response from the board of directors was, these are pure allegations. There's nothing like that has happened. They argued in the emails, and their attorney argued in the arbitration. It was not until April, after it was reiterated 2 times, that is when this question came up. Well, we had 7 members who asked us, why couldn't that information be given in January? Why couldn't that information be given to the community in December of 2014, in December of 2015? You know that in the December of 2014 meeting, in December 2014 meeting, many of you may not have been in that meeting. The financial report said we had, out of a budget of about $550,000, we had $141,000 miscellaneous expense. You tell me any organization that has $141,000 miscellaneous expense. This was cover up. So when I asked the question, they said, okay, well, $87,000 was given for professional fees. We still had $50,000 God knows how that was spent. So there were tons of issues that really no one really promoted until it had to be.
Memberships. They are entitled to do that. And not en masse that you can change the date and invalidate the 500-600 people's right to vote. That's what the last one was about, right to vote. Okay?
So also, I've heard community members and people who came up to us, and these are people I know and I trust, and they said they were approached and asked for people to buy their memberships for them. How do you explain that?
How do we know? Bring those people and charge them for something. If we don't know any information about it, how are we supposed to answer that question for you? As Dr. Nasir pointed out, this is at a personal level. People are becoming members. Now, why was there increased membership? Well, there were two basic reasons for increased membership. What I can understand. I don't know the answer completely. One was, we were in the month of Ramadan. Every night, before Taraweeh, the president stood up and pleaded with people to become members. There were sessions held after 8 rakats. There were sessions held after Fridays to make more members. Other people probably tried the same thing, to have more members. The activity that was going on in the masjid at that time, from the beginning of 2013, it became very unpleasant. The relationship became unpleasant. So maybe people did not like the idea that current administration was doing a good job. It is avoiding the question. People should actually look at it. Why there was increased membership? You could not have increased membership 400 or 500 just because somebody is buying the votes. It is just illogical. How many votes can you buy? Why would somebody spend $100,000 to gain what? A seat, an IAGD Board of Directors? That would be totally illogical way of looking at it.
The board of directors, when we had our last resolution, they explained that at one of the meetings there was an individual who, and it's on the minutes, and those minutes are available for anyone, that a certain individual from the community spent around $20,000 to buy votes. So those votes were also that explanation was also tied back to the fact that the membership increased about 800 people. So can you explain those 2 points that were also available? Why would someone come out and say that why would someone lie about that? It's a significant amount of money.
You are still again saying the hearsay in the minutes. Just I told you that no proof has been given. The Constitution says that you can be a member if you're 18 years old and if you're a Muslim. Now, when you give the membership fees, how are you going to determine that where this person got the membership fees from? How are you going to determine? Same goes with donation. Some people may be making illegal businesses and donate $10,000. How do you determine that is a good money or is a bad money? Similarly, in a membership, if somebody comes in and gives a check and he says, I'm not a member, this is my form. How do you tell?
Does the membership committee check?
What would they check? It is checked by the person, and how can you determine where the money, who's making halal money, who's making haram money, who got this money from his neighbor, or his other person, or his own money? How do you determine that?
We're not really questioning that.
That's the question. That's the main question. That the money, the votes were bought.
No, we're not questioning the means of their money, because however someone makes their money, that's their thing.
The money that somebody spends to become the member, that's the question, right?
Yeah, so if someone's giving money for people to become
Right,
members, so they can control.
Right, so you need to have the proof of that somebody gave money to this person and he has, and if somebody did that, that's his problem. The board should take the task. Okay? And there are people that who they have clear evidence that they did that, they should take the task and invalidate those votes.
I have a question about just construction of the, how we think maybe the masjid should be. So since you have multiple plans and we haven't decided on a fully set plan yet, do you think that it's important to, okay, if you have.
No, my question. The plan has been set. There are no multiple plans. It is called modified plan E. That is the plan. It is totally grain in stone. That is the plan that's going to be implemented and built. There are no other plans.
Okay, so since that's the plan and there's no changes to that plan, do you think that it should have been important to at least talk with the youth and see what the youth may have wanted in this new plan, since in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to be the new leaders of this masjid and we're going to be running this masjid, to see maybe what we want to say instead of just coming up with a plan without even consulting the rest of the youth?
Well, the youth were here all through these years. Many of you were here in IAGD, and you had every opportunity to input into it. This is absolutely an uncalled question of getting now at this point, since this older youth group has become active, and we are very happy that you are active, because that is the need of this organization and this place for the people at your age group who are going through college or have gone through the college and are starting your professional careers, is to remain involved. Our previous original group actually did the same thing. So that is actually very good. But at this stage, you can only we rehashed this from 2009 through 2012. It went through multiple iterations, multiple communications, multiple inputs, and now you have had another 3 years go by. That is not changing.
Since you said the new estimated cost is going to be higher, and the expansion plan is projected to start post-Ramadan, which is immediately, for the rest of the cost, how do we plan on getting those? Are we gonna go ahead and break this expansion plan into phases? Do we plan on going to the bank for the rest of the cost? And
We're not going to go to the bank. That was Mama's problem.
Right.
Okay, it might have to go in phases, but the issue is the cost idea logically would be somewhat higher than was in 2013. That's just logical way of looking at it. How much higher, we don't know, but currently actually our architect, the engineers, construction manager is involved in the process of what they call value engineering, looking at things that could be potentially modified or changed in the construction process that actually would give us saving. And as I mentioned to you, the estimate at that time was 5.7. Our budget was 6.9 or 7. So we actually have about 20% cushion in there. And we're very confident that it will be done within that cushion.
I just want to add two more things. As you know that, I don't know for how many years I'm the fundraising chairman. 10 years, okay? And this is my job, okay, to collect the funds. And I was begging this committee, okay, to come to the plan so that we can initiate the process. I don't know whether you were there when we did the last construction over here, okay, and we went through the same thing at that time also too. At that time we said that we will collect the funds, but we will not go to the bank for the next phase. And we said, no, we will not go to the bank. Going back to this one, the 9 members who gave the vote, at that time, the Hussein Akbar was the president. And his goal was to bring everybody on the same platform. Out of 9, you know who 3 other people who gave the vote for that one was? Zahid Latif, Uncle, Auntie, Sister Rabin, and Sister Suraya. They voted for this plan. They voted for this plan. Just want to let you know.
Okay, so I'm going to pass the mic to Hamza.
All right, so the next topic and questions. Yeah, the last topic that we wanted to kind of address as a community was going to be concerning the expansion plan. Now, we know the expansion plan has been formulated for a long time, it's a couple of years, and it's going to be a big change, and it's going to be expensive. So, out of the cost, how much, well, first of all, how much do you think the cost is actually estimated to be? And out of that estimate, how much of it do we already have?
This process was started in 2008. Now we are 8 years down the line. Why we are 8 years down the line is because of many of the hindrances that came along. We went through a period of time when there was recession, and the costs were actually quite low. This is what we know about the costs. The way we have structured the expansion project, it is going to be run through a construction manager rather than a general contractor. The difference is the general contractor gives you a number, they run the construction, and they have their own time frame. If you're doing the construction yourself through a construction manager, you can pace that construction based on the availability of funds and everything else that's going on. Plus, you can make changes along the way if necessary. When the Board of Directors, you know that this plan went through the Board of Directors and the Board of Trustees twice. In 2011, it was presented to a combined meeting of Board of Directors and Board of Trustees as 14 members, 5 Board of Trustees and 9 Board of Directors. That meeting also included both of our imams, Dr. Usman Master, who is the head of the fundraising committee, and the other committee members who worked on the expansion plan. And you know, those committee members included the 2 members from the Board of Trustees, the President and the Vice President, Dr. Fasad Hamzavi, Brother Sharif Hindi, and Sister Rabin Mazhar. These were the 7 people who worked on the plan. When the plan was presented to this combined meeting, a vote was taken. The vote was 13-1. We talk of Shura and we talk of democracy. One person who did not vote for it, then had a campaign going on to stop the construction. Anyhow, the change is made, and so this plan went second time around in 2012, in July of 2012, whereby the Board of Directors unanimously approved that plan, and the Board of Trustees approved that plan. And the architect was hired and the construction manager was hired. The board of directors, I know it may be over 4 minutes, but let me just explain this to you because this might hold some of your questions. The board of directors, when they unanimously approved this plan, had two conditions on it. The one condition was that the cost should be limited to 6.9 million. And the second one was that there should be a survey sent to the community as to whether the sisters' prayer area should be on the second floor or on the first floor. That was done, and out of the people who responded, I think it's 78% of the people said it should be on the second floor. Our construction manager estimated the cost to be 5.7 million, which still left us with over $1 million of flexibility with changes and so forth. At that time, we had $3.2 million with us. Our objective always had been, ever since we finished this construction, is that we should have about 50% of funds in our pocket before we embark on the next construction project. And that was well within our own set rule. Currently, despite those 200,000 going out, we have $3.3 million, and we just have the commitments and the funds paid on Saturday of $700,000. If that is all realized, that would be $4 million.
Comfortable area for both the sisters and the brothers in separate locations. Would that be something that the trustees would be open to consider?
I don't have plans right in front of me, but that was taken into consideration. Actually, if you look at it, the second floor, half of the second floor is for the youth. That is the library, the reading area, the computer area. That's on the other side of the sisters' praying area. That is purely for the youth. I think most of us older folks are not the ones that they are going to be using those computers. Okay? That has been for the sake of the youth. Second, on the first floor, there was an express desire to have an area that would be like a coffee shop and things like that. That area has been preserved, has been developed, and it is already here. Then we have additional space that has in the basement part of it under the lobby that has the potential of development into multiple programs as everybody prepares for it, as the need arises. And that fight has been gone on to have that basement built now rather than coming back later. The whole purpose is, it is for people like you, all of you who are here, it's up to you to develop the programs. The space would be available and developed based upon the needs.
So it's clear that after this incident, the community would really like a transparent board of directors and trustees. We believe that it's imperative and necessary to share all transactions that happen that are over $5,000 with the community from both sides. We believe that this information should be shared on the website monthly and that we should be informed of it through e-news.
This suggestion will have to go to the board of directors because they do the day-to-day activities where they have the operations account and they are spending through it, and this can be, once it's incorporated in the resolution, it can be followed through.
The board of directors is the one who runs the budget, who runs the expenses. They spend, and so we have 35 years of track record on normal functioning, normal expenses, normal consolidation. It's just a break in there. Inshallah, with God's help and you guys' good wishes and help, it's going to all smooth out. So then you can ask the Board of Directors to put all the budget on the website, to put all the expenses on the website, so everybody can see it. I don't think this should be a problem. But it's the Board of Directors' job. Don't ask us to do that.
One other thing is this one. This is from the very beginning, okay? The Board of Directors meetings are open, and you have all the right to attend that meeting and sit there and listen to them and ask the questions over there. So there is no secret over there. Okay? And Alhamdulillah, this is IAGD. Since the inception, okay, we have all the records are there. Okay? This is only 5% of the organization in the country do file to the IRS. 5% of the organizations like us file to the IRS, and IAGD is one of them. So that is, we want to be transparent from that point of view too. Okay?
Another thing that we want to talk about and bring up is youth engagement and the board representation of a youth member. So we acknowledge the need for activities and programs for the youth, but we also acknowledge that it is our responsibility to produce said programs in order to create efficient programs and activities. However, we firmly believe that we need representation and we wish to be included in the administrative process. We therefore respectfully request a non-voting youth seat that we will elect through a majority vote process to sit on in all meetings, including the Board of Director meetings, meetings between the Board of Trustees, and any other meetings that take place.
I think that's a suggestion that you should make to the Board of Directors, and then due process should bring it to the fruition.
Okay, I agree with that, but how do you also feel about that?
That's a good suggestion. It needs to be looked into, and the pros and cons, and how far you take it. Yeah, sure.
You think it's good? You think it's okay? Thank you.
Participation is very important. Participation can be done many different ways. I think the best participation is not one seat, but rather formulating a committee structure and really discussing the issues, whether it has to do with whatever process we are in education or other things, and youth is one of the parties. If you ever get to the level and get a youth director, many of those things that are of concern can actually be resolved. Youth director becomes your advocate and representative at the state structure. That is many because the youth director asks for these and so forth, but that's the process that you have to go through the Board of Directors.
Okay. And then also I wanted to say that
we have different committees out there, okay? And I think this is a very good start, that we should have a youth committee also too. Just like we have this expansion committee, we have this fundraising committee and all of it. So we should have a very strong youth committee, and that should work very closely with the Board of Directors. And then they will invite you. They will invite you for your plan or whatever suggestions you have or what you want to do. What we like to see, we like to have more programs in this IAGD. More youth program. So more you will do the youth program, the more family will move to this area. When more family will move to this area, then that's it. And my job will be easy then.
And then also another thing about having maybe one person represent from the youth, not just maybe a youth director, but actually having a youth member, is that it's also a way to help gear us for the future. Both the Board of Trustees and the Board of Directors are helping training this youth and training maybe multiple youth members for the future generations to come. So do you think that would be a good idea too?
With your definition of youth to age 32, let me just point out to you that the people who started working with this organization and building the organization were in their 20s. They were the ones who worked to develop this functioning body. Our next generation, and this is a unique organization where we actually had a program transition from older folks to the younger folks. The people who were running this organization 5-6 years ago were in their 30s, early 30s. 5 of the 9 board of director members were in that age group. There has been no lack of participation of the youth in this organization, and there should not be any. There should be as much a participation as possible within the structure. People can, as I said, people can contribute many different ways, and there are many ways to get training. People are out there. Those people who are running this organization are entering their 40s, and the next generation, 30s, are to help take care of the things.
You know, your point is very well taken. My daughter can. The point is very well taken also, but the main thing is in the organization, how you raise the organization is from the children. Now, what we want, okay, one that the board member should come up from you, because if you are in the committee, you know how the IAGD runs, but you never be in the committee, and if you become the board member, we don't know what is going on. Are you with me? Even when I became the board member, I was the finance committee, one of the members of the finance committee. A lot of people went through that one. Okay. So if you work in any committee, then it will be easy for you to understand the process and everything, and then you will be mature in that one, and then it will be easy for you to make the decisions and all those things. Okay. So this is, I like your idea. We like to have a youth committee over there, and the youth, we want the future leaders, and they will be coming from you, inshallah.
Having directors.
Well, you have to look at what your finances are. You have to look at what the proposal is. If the proposal comes, anytime that you make a proposal, you say, we are going to hire this person, or we're going to build something like this. How are we going to get the finances? How is this going to be sustained? Is this a temporary position for 2 months or 3 months or 6 months? Is it a permanent position? And how are we going to do fundraising or get a grant or whatever? This is the job of the organization at the proposal level, at the board of directors, and once it is put in that context, it comes to the board of trustees. I don't remember that the board of trustees ever opposing things that were validly projected and proposed to the board of trustees. But you cannot say, our budget is, we raise $400,000 a year, but we want to have a program that's going to cost another $300,000, but we actually have no plan to raise those funds. The organization does not have a pocket of money or something that is coming. It's a membership sustained, donation sustained organization. Okay? So whenever the proposal comes, it's not in our organization, it's in any organization. You have to have a business plan. And that business plan should provide for finances, for the processes, what kind of person should there be, what is going to happen. And once a proposal comes, I personally don't think that there is any particular reason that would not go through.
So it's clear that we are attempting to move forward, inshallah, right?
Yes.
So the issue is,
last Saturday, people came. Here it was a miracle. It was a miracle. Last blessing. And we raised $700,000 with all this turmoil. And for your information, by the way, last 4 years we didn't raise any money. We lost $4 million. Every year we raise $1 million.
Out of that $700,000 that was raised, how much was it actually cash money? Was it actually?
I don't know right now how much was cash money, but that is available whenever needed.
Okay.
Right?
Eventually that will be shared with the community, right?
Everything though, because what we do.
But see, you have to respect people's wishes. Majority of those donations are anonymous. So yes, you say, this is the amount of money that came at the end of the year. You know, this was the cash coming. These were the pledges. One person, for example, pledged that he would provide for the cost of all the carpet in the new masjid. Okay? So, you have to put a value. 2 years from now, when that time comes up, cost may be higher or lower or whatever, it can be variable, and you can work with that person. But you cannot detail who did what. That is people's prerogative. But as far as the global information is concerned,
so going.
At the end of the year, we always keep paper. Just like you saw me, that a lot of people, just like I got 100,000 check, but they don't want to be announced, and you don't want to stand.
That's why we suggested instead of yearly, we suggested to do by month, but that is something again we have to approach the board of directors with as well. The expenses and everything, instead of yearly, it could be by month, just to promote transparency and trust. But this is an issue we have to approach that way. We understand. Yes, we understand. Yes. So anyway, going back to my point about inshallah we would like to move forward. Since the board of directors have not met quorum since August 2013 due to 4 members consistently not showing up, how would you aid in solving this issue?
as I said, just this month, they had the forum, all 9 of them were there. And, in that process, you have to cultivate people. You have to find reasons why they were not there. Okay? So, and that's a big topic. I don't think at 2 o'clock in the morning, when people are now waiting for the Tahajjud next time, that we should go into that detail. It is a two-way street. It was the way, literally, the process of August 4 board meeting went. Those people did not feel they were being participant in the process, and there was no use for them to be there other than just to support certain number of decisions. That was their feeling. They can answer their questions, but we have no control on who does what. But we strongly urge them to be part of the process, and they reciprocated very well. They were there for the board meeting. They would still be there for the board meetings unless some events happen where they are not considered to be good participants.
So, but it seems like you're blaming the board for their...
I'm not blaming anybody.
My question on that one second, please. So you're blaming the board for their inaction, but they really couldn't do anything without the quorum present. So how is the board of directors able to accomplish things without the quorum present?
Well, they had all the control, they ran the organization, they ran the finances, they could get the donations. There was no restriction on their activities. They did not prepare a budget. They did once in June of 2013, they asked for additional $100,000, and that was readily provided to them. $50,000. In May of 2014, they asked for another $50,000, which was readily provided to them. So they could do the program, they could do the projects, they could ask for donations. Why did they ask for donations? An organization that runs on donations, and for 3.5 years, you do not ask people to make donations. How are you going to run the organization? How are you going to run the programs?
What about, isn't the quorum part of the Constitution? Right?
Quorum has nothing to do with it. Quorum has nothing to do with it. To raise funds, ask for donations, you don't need a quorum.
Generally things within the most general.
Yeah, they had full control of, no one interfered iota with their functioning. No one at all.
Let's not get into the board of directors. If you have questions for the trustees.